Hi, in this video I'm going to show you how to use the Italian cast-on to start a knit 2 purl 2 ribbing when you're knitting flat. The beginning will be identical to the cast-on for a knit 1 purl 1 ribbing, but we will later resort the stitches so that we get a knit 2 purl 2 ribbing. To start, leave a short tail and put the working yarn over your index finger and thumb. The tail should be below the thumb. Hold the 2 strands with your other 3 fingers. You can either start with a slip knot or make the first stitch as I do here. Put the needle on top of the strand. Then twist the needle towards you to form a loop around the needle. This is already the first stitch. Remember, we cast on a knit 1 purl 1 ribbing that we will later resort to get a knit 2 purl 2 ribbing. So our next stitch needs to be a purl stitch. For that, we move the needle under the strand that is coming from the index finger. We then move the needle over the strand that is coming from the thumb. Move the needle up to complete the stitch. For a knit stitch, we move the needle under the strand that is coming from the thumb. We then move the needle over the strand that is coming from the index finger. Move the needle down to complete the stitch. To add another purl stitch, we go under the index finger, over the thumb and then around. For the knit stitch, we go under the thumb, over the index finger and then around. For the purl stitch, go under the index finger, over the thumb and around. So we always start under one of the strands, we move the needle over the other strand and then once around. For a knit stitch, we start under the thumb. For a purl stitch, we start under the index finger. I will show you a few more stitches. My last stitch is a purl stitch. Now we fixate the tail and the working yarn and turn. To secure the last stitch, we need to wrap the tail once around the working yarn. Next, we will work 2 setup rows. In the first setup row, we knit the knit stitches through the back loops and slip the purl stitches. My last stitch was a purl stitch, so this row starts with a knit stitch. Knit the first stitch through the back loop. Slip the purl stitch with the yarn in front of the work. Continue knitting one stitch through the back loop and slipping the next stitch with the yarn in front until you have reached the end of the row. The stitches with the left leg in front are the knit stitches, and the stitches with the right leg in front are the purl stitches. We need to knit the knit stitches through the back loops since the left legs of the stitches are in the front, and knitting them through the back loops will correct that. Turn and work the second setup row. The last stitch was a purl stitch, so this row starts with a knit stitch. Knit the first stitch. Slip the purl stitch with the yarn in front of the work. Continue knitting a stitch and slipping the next stitch with the yarn in front until you have reached the end of the row. After the two setup rows, we can work the actual ribbing. In order to get a knit 2 purl 2 ribbing, we need to resort the stitches. The first stitch is a knit stitch, so just knit the first stitch. The next stitch is a purl stitch, but we need a knit stitch. To get a knit stitch, we swap the next two stitches. After we have swapped the stitches, we have a knit stitch followed by two purl stitches, which is exactly what we need. So knit 1, purl 2. Repeat the last 4 stitches until you have reached the end of the row. So knit the first stitch. Swap the next 2 stitches so that your next stitch will become a knit stitch. The next 3 stitches are now a knit stitch and 2 purl stitches, so work them as they appear. After this row, you can just work and knit 2 purl 2 ribbing until the ribbing is finished. I hope this video was helpful and thanks for watching.